Okay, would you look at that? The 2023 First Robotics Competition game has been released, and we are back. Coming up on tonight's episode of FRC Roundup, we're going to be breaking down First Charged Up that was released this morning, specifically looking at maybe one of the most open fields that FRC has seen since 2014 and kind of our general thoughts on the game. Taking a look at the fragile cubes that were also in one of the game pieces and discussing the Limelight 3, and then also breaking down, kind of the overall audience viewership from the arena standpoint and how it might be difficult or not difficult to view the game being played. All of this and more coming up on the season 2 premiere of FRC Roundup.
This video on First Updates Now is made possible by viewers like you and also the following sponsors. If you are looking for a new internship or career, Stryker is hiring. Stryker is one of the world's leading medical technology companies and is committed to continuous innovation to help make healthcare better. Go to careers.stryker.com or click the link in the description box below to learn more about Stryker and explore their openings today.
All right, welcome to the show. If you have not caught our show previously, FRC Roundup is where we take a look at important topics currently happening in FRC, highlight some discussion points about events that may have happened, strategy, or really anything that correlates with FRC. If you, the fun community, think that there is a topic that we should discuss on FRC Roundup, please feel free to ping me on the fun Discord, and I will be more than happy to take a look at it. If you're not familiar with me, my name is Nick Mathis, and I'm currently in the First and Michigan region, and I am a mentor for Team 33, the Killer Bees.
And I am Connor McBride, mentor for Team 166 Chop Shop and the game announcer in the New England District. Our guest tonight is Ryan Swanson. Ryan is a mentor for 6045 Sabre Robotics and a brand new fun host for the 2023 season. Welcome to the show, Ryan.
Yeah, thank you very much, Connor. Looking forward to it, and looking forward to the new year.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks again, Ryan, for jumping on kind of last minute. I know we had some issues this morning, but really appreciate you joining the show. We're going to go ahead and jump right into it. I know, this is a lot of the times for people like us and people in the FRC community, this kickoff day is sometimes even better than Christmas for most of us, or what we call our Christmas. But we finally, after a couple months of teasers from First, got to see what First Charged Up actually was, and disposing of energy and whatnot. But just kind of overall general thoughts of the game. I think that it is a unique engineering challenge. I know that we were talking offline prior to the show, and FRC hasn't really seen any sort of a reaching aspect, really since like 2011, I think is what we had said. So that was something unique that I think is going to provide a different engineering challenge. I think that also with this game, it really opens the spectrum of designs that we're going to see. I think we're going to see a ton of robots that have a lot of different designs, and that's going to be really interesting to see. So, that's kind of my overall general thoughts about the game. I'm a little hesitant at first to say, because I think it might get maxed out a little bit, but we can dive into that here. But Connor, we'll start with you, and then go ahead to Ryan. Just overall thoughts on the game. You were actually live in Manchester today and got to see the full field and with your own eyes, which is, I know, a huge topic because a lot of people don't really see it till their first competition. So Connor, go ahead.
I was there with a few of my students on 166. I love it, to be honest. I love that it's a nice, flat, open field. 166, we went swerve last year, and actually for like the last month, I was dreading. I was like, it's probably going to be a non-swerve game with all the carpet getting torn up this past season. I feel like First is just really just going to throw a wrench in it and bring something out Stronghold-esque that we're going to have to drive over a lot of defenses. But to be honest, it's completely the opposite of that. We've seen cubes-ish before with power-up, but a cone is in FRC is something that we've never seen before. We've seen it actually this year, similar to that in the FTC game, and similar-esque stuff in the in Vex EDR competitions we've seen in prior games, Skyrise, and I forget what one of the other games is, like the 2015-2016 season game. So there's a lot of awesome stuff that teams can go back and reference other kind of manipulators and see how robots interacted with those game pieces. But I'm really, really excited for this game. I think it's a little sneaky hard kind of thing. We haven't had two game pieces since 2019, and they're two completely different shapes as well, which is going to be really interesting. Awesome design challenge. I think we'll see a lot of robots looking very different from each other. So
Yeah, 100%. Ryan, overall thoughts about the game?
Yeah, the first reaction I had is it's a jumbo FTC game, multi-game pieces, giant extendo reach. I thought of relic recovery a little bit. I mean, I'm in a couple different group chats with robotics people, and there was a lot of talk like, "Oh, I think we're going to get an extension game," and we got it right. So 48 inches outside your frame perimeter. Have we ever had that other than 2015? Have we ever had anything that large
Not that I
before?
can recall,
No.
no.
And it's a 6'6" height limit. So pretty much, I'm 6'8". So if I'm looking at it eye level, we know we're legal.
Right, yeah, there you go.
yeah,
It's a swerve drive paradise. I'm so thankful that my team invested in the max swerve from Rev Robotics.
Oh, there you go.
I think it's a massive difference whether you have swerve or not. We can cover that a little bit more later in the show.
Yeah, I guess we'll kind of jump right into that. I know we got our general thoughts, but looking at this, the first thing as soon as the field was released, I looked at one of my friends on 33 Mervar and was like, "Open field, baby!" It's swerve paradise, and I can't really recall. I mean, this field might be the most open field that we've seen since 2014. I know 15 we obviously had all the totes. 16 we had defenses drive over. 17 we had the giant airships. 18 the scales, and 19 the cargo ship, and obviously 20 with the giant shield generator. So I really think this might be one of the most open fields, and I think, like Connor said, I was totally expecting first to say carpet is not going to be sustainable. We got to do something to prevent these teams from trying to run and swerve, and you'll have a couple crazy teams that'll still do it, but try and get that number down. And it was like totally the opposite. Like we got swerve paradise. I'm sure Patrick, over at SDS is like, oh boy, I got to get going here. And even Rev, and Greg with just coming out with Max Swerve, great time to come out with that. And I'm excited to see even more teams take that next jump to swerve, and see really how competitive this game could get just with sheer defense. When you think of like 2015, 2016, when swerve wasn't big, there was a couple teams like Bomb Squad and a few others that had done it. um, I think that this game played then is a totally different game played, right? Because you don't have that swerve meta, or more or less, where now there's a good chance that 25% of the FRC teams are going to be running swerve, and it's just going to make the game so much more competitive because it's going to be that much more harder to defend teams.
So one note regarding open field, it's open field swerve paradise with one caveat. I don't know that, and I've talked to a couple other swerve teams. I don't know that I'll feel comfortable cycling continuously over the generator.
Okay.
I don't, there's a 60-inch gap on either side roughly, and I think there's going to be some path planning that's required. I think a lot of swerve robots are going to say, "Nah, I'd rather not, drive over that every time."
Yeah, that's understandable. And I think what's important too is I haven't actually got to see one. So Connor, I don't know if you got to see. I mean, when you were there today, if you got when you got to look at the um, I totally forgot what's it called, charging station, I think, or something along
yeah.
the lines of that. But did it look like relatively swerve friendly? I mean, from what the videos it doesn't seem too bad. I know it's mostly made out of polycarb, but the gaps from when it would shift, I don't know if you got a good look at that.
Yeah, so the first thing that I saw when the charging station's at neutral is that it's a pretty steep inclination. I mean, it's only 9 inches tall, but the inclination is what got me worried. I did watch them, and I watched Jay. If you go to Jay Flores's Instagram, actually, which this is just a really deep dive here. There's a video of him rocking back and forth on it, and it moves with ease. So I think if you set your bumper at the right height, I think you'll be able to run into it and be able to tilt it with your bumper, and you'll drastically decrease the angle of attack of driving over it.
It dips down to 11 degrees, I believe, when you're actuating it.
Yeah,
I think it's 11 degrees, and like stationary, it's like 37 or 39. Or even if you add some kind of like swerve skid underneath to kind of like bump yourself up. Yeah, there's Jay rocking back and forth on it. Yeah. So
okay. Yeah, I'll be interested to see one of those actually built. Moving forward, just with that, I'd be curious to see. Yeah, that does move pretty, and it looked like in the video, and they were driving the kip out over it, that it moved with ease. But
my initial thought.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, final thoughts, Ryan.
My initial thought in seeing that is I don't believe that my team can accurately, replicate that. I believe Andy Mark is offering it. I haven't seen the price for it, but I do think that'll be a pretty hot seller for teams that want to, go for the autonomous balance and get that 12 points.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we'll go ahead and jump into topic two. We're first going to mention Limelight 3 that was subtly released today. I don't know if I know that when we were reviewing the game rules and I had popped on Chief Delphi to see what the discussion was, but the Limelight 3 was officially released today. So, from the sounds of it, it's definitely going to be optimized towards April tags. One of the cool things that I thought from when I gathered from this great video that they made, by the way, is that the footprint is 30% smaller, which is obviously a huge deal. Having a smaller camera is definitely more beneficial for space and trying to figure out where to stick it. So, great for the Limelight community. I also just want to shout them out. I thought something that was really cool when they came out that they were coming out with a Limelight 3 is they totally cut the price down on the Limelight 2 Plus and said, this we're still going to support this. It's still going to work for what you need, but we are coming out with something new. And I thought that was really, really cool of the Limelight community. But Ryan, I know you have a little bit more information, or I've had more chance to kind of dive into it. So, any thoughts on the Limelight 3?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I have a friend who's a beta tester for them, and he didn't share anything until recently. But essentially, what he shared is they've optimized it for April tags. I fully expect it to be a game changer in terms of FRC vision with April tags. We're going to be looking to implement it this year, and I think it's a great product and a great service to the community from the Limelight team.
Yeah, Connor, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it at all, but overall thoughts about the Limelight 3?
Yeah, it looks cool. I know my team, we're Team Glowworm. We can't really justify the price of a Limelight. I mean, we could pay for it, but it's just not in our repertoire right now. I love the features about it. We kind of get the same stuff with the Glowworm. My favorite part about this is their reveal video for this thing. Like
Yeah, awesome.
that thing is awesome. Hats off to the Limelight crew. I know that this is going to be an awesome product. I can't wait to see what the price is on that. That's probably going to be a little hard to stomach, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so jumping forward, I know we want to make sure we get done on a timely manner here, so that way we can get to the RI3D daily recap. But looking in more topic two, taking a look at the fragile game piece. I know when we had gotten the kit at 33 today, and I was like, I want to see the cube because it looked like in the video that we saw, it was, in between an inflatable, but I couldn't really tell, and I just wanted to see it, and then they actually had, grabbed it. But I'm a little worried, if I'm going to be honest with you. It's definitely one of the more flimsy game pieces. At least come to mind 2019 Cargo or even 2022 last year, what we had, it seemed very like a much more firm material. And the cubes that we have this year like are virtually weightless, and seem along the lines that it is it's very pliable, and I'm worried with the thickness of the material that if we're running straight at robots they're just going to pop. So I'll be curious to see. I know I couldn't directly find in the manual, but I did have a presumption that what happens if you are to intake one of these cubes and they pop in your robot. Are you considered then possessing that cube the rest of the match and you can't touch another game piece? I'm presuming the answer is yes, and if that's the case, that
Yeah.
really sucks. But Connor, overall thoughts. I know you and I kind of talked about this offline, but I'm a little worried if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, I am too. I can't wait to see stress tests of these. I didn't know that it was an inflatable until I got back to our shop from Manchester. So I opened up our kit of parts and someone opened it up, inflated it. I walked into our shop. I picked it up and I go, oh, that's gonna break.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
we immediately ordered like 10 more, I think, and we're like, yeah, we're gonna go to first choice round 2 and probably put some of those in there as well. So
Right.
yeah, the cone's very durable.
Yeah, the cone
Um,
does look very durable. I thought that was, and when we were talking about the cone earlier, I think the other game that comes to mind for me is In the Zone from Vex, when the
yeah,
cones were obviously a severely different material.
yep.
But that's one of the things that I thought. We haven't seen cones in FRC. I think that was one of the really cool aspects that I'm excited to see how teams manipulate with. But Ryan, I don't know if you've had any really experience dealing with something along the lines of the cube that we've got to deal with now, but overall thoughts on the inflatable.
Yeah, no, my initial thought when I picked it up was the same as you. I think it's going to break. I think teams are going to spear it. It's going to pop. I think the one thing it's got going for it is you can really kind of treat it like a ball. It's round enough that I do think if you crash into it really hard with your bumpers, more than likely it's going to pop up and over, and you're not gonna like smush it. I think it's got that going for it. But we'll see. I think we're going to see a lot of busted cubes, and I hope First is prepared for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Real quick, just want to pull from chat. Zarogan Samantha, one of our fun hosts, she did say it still scores if it's deflated. So
Yeah, so I guess the thing that pops in from my mind, right, is like, okay, if you can score it while it's deflated, it's completely manipulator dependent, right? So if you can only go in so far and then it pops, if you somehow finagle it and like drop it on there, but I think that'll be an interesting aspect. But yeah, it was based off of that, Connor, then from my perspective, I would interpret that as, if it's popped in your robot, then you're stuck with it. That's you possessing a game piece at that point, and you're
yep.
basically a defense robot at that point. But okay, we're going to go ahead and jump into topic 3, our final topic of the night, and discussing, the overall audience view from an arena standpoint. I know that, when we were watching the webcast this morning and taking a look at where the specific scoring happens on the field, it does happen majorly along the alliance walls, and I thought that was interesting. We haven't seen that in the past couple of years. The past couple of years, all the scoring's been done directly in the center of the field. Like last year being the hub, or 2020 having the ports on the either end, but also having the shield generator in the middle. So there was something happening in the middle of the field. I think that depending on where you're at in the arena, it's going to be very difficult to see. Um, and in general, I think trying to determine where these pieces are at from an arena and spectating perspective is going to be relatively difficult. The other thing to note too is that in majority of the FRC games that we see, the field, specifically like the alliance stations, are opposite of each other, right? So in 2017, they might have been on the same side, but majority of the time, they're opposing, or they're mirrored on opposite corners. Well, this year, the alliance stations are on the same side of the field, regardless of what alliance color you are. So with it being that 90-degree alliance station, if you're sitting on that side of the field, you're going to have a rough time viewing, anything being scored on that side, because it's, that station's facing directly that side of the wall. So, Ryan, we'll go ahead and start with you. Overall thoughts on, audience perspective in the arena at competitions, and then Connor, we'll go ahead and wrap it up with you.
For sure, yeah. No, I think for your general, like the parents of students that aren't involved in the game, central scoring location is going to be the best for watching action.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of the major stakeholders, scouts are going to be able to see the robot they're scouting. Teams are going to be able to follow their team and watch what their team is doing. I think it's fine. I always prefer some kind of a central scoring mechanism. I do think seeing whether an object is scored or not, it'll be difficult in the moment. When the robot pulls away, maybe you'll have a better shot at that. But I don't think it'll take away from the game significantly. I'm excited to see how it plays out, though.
Yeah, for sure. Connor?
Yeah, I have nothing. I have no problem with it, to be honest. You can see on that side loading station, there's kind of like the net mesh kind of stuff. I think if it's like floor seating, I think you might have a little bit of trouble seeing in that area. But I think if you're higher up in like bleachers or stands, or even when we go to Houston later this year, those bleachers are pretty high up to the field.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you still have a good vantage point to be able to see the entire field. Or if you're looking on stream, I think you'll be fine. The way that I like to see it, if it's a good spectator game, is if my grandma is able to watch it and understand. Because
Sure.
she's 92, and so if she's able to follow along with it and be able to see what's going on, then that's an A+ for me.
Right.
So
Alternatively, from the pictures that you had sent to us earlier, alternatively, the sight lines from the driver station look to be absolutely beautiful.
yeah,
It doesn't seem to be any really obstruction. Like last year, the giant hub in the middle. Like if you're in station 2, sorry, like you're stuck. It is what it is. But I'm really excited about that, and I think the position of the charging station as well is going to be really cool, because we'll be able to see 3 robots trying to get on there at once and bouncing, similar to 2012 when the bridges were in the middle of the field as well. We'll be able to get a great view of that as well.
Charging stations are probably, just initial reaction, is potentially going to be my favorite end game in terms of action and not knowing the final score until 3 seconds afterward.
Yeah.
It's always fun seeing the how gravity will impact it. I mean,
Oh,
teams
100%,
are going
right?
to fall off after the end of the match, and it will change the outcome, and that'll be really exciting.
Yep.
And just
Yeah,
like the balance
exactly.
bridges in Rebound Rumble.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
precisely.
No, I mean, as a drive coach, I'm in love with this, and I think this is good for the defensive side, because like all the defense that can be played is in that neutral zone with 0 obstructions. That's going to make for some awesome last second being able to pull off from playing defense at the last second. I think it's going to make for some hard hits and awesome gameplay throughout the season. I'm really excited. Oh, and you're scoring right in front of your driver station. So like if you're a team that isn't very software heavy and can't really get any kind of vision stuff going, your line of sight is so nice. So I think that opens up that's a kind of a little bit of a lower barrier for teams that aren't big into resources as well.
Yeah,
So I'm super excited about that.
and alternatively, I think a lot of teams now, we've had the Limelight discussion for a couple of years and blinding people and blinding drivers, and I think this year, like, it's gonna be a really big deal because you're literally blinding yourself now. Like, you are turning and you are scoring directly in front of you. So if you're using a Limelight, like, you're gonna want to make sure it's positioned in a very good spot because you are not gonna be able to see once the robot turns towards you. So, any other final thoughts before we go ahead and wrap up the show?
I'm just excited to see this game play out. I can't wait, and I can't wait to see what teams come up with. I think you're going to see a lot of very interesting designs, and you'll be able to start seeing that within the next week with the Open Alliance teams as well. It's going to be cool.
Yeah.
The thing I can't get out of my head is elevator versus arm. That's what I'm going to go do after the show, and I'm going to rack my brain a little more and talk with my team.
Yeah,
I'm in the exact same boat as you.
Yep, gonna be a fun couple of days. All right, well, thank you everybody for tuning into FRC Roundup. Special thanks to all those who clicked that follow button or stepped up to help fund with a Twitch subscription or a donation. Your help really helps us, or your support really helps us continue to make great content. Don't forget you can watch FRC Roundup archived at youtube.com/first updates now and watch live Mondays after FRC recap during the competition season. We're almost there. Couple of weeks, we'll be back on Monday nights, or monthly now. We'll probably do another show towards the beginning of February, and then we'll get going at the beginning of competition season. Thank you to Tyler, our guest, and thank you to Tyler, our producer, and Ryan, our guest, for coming on. On behalf of Tyler Olds, my co-host Connor, and all of our fun correspondents, I'm Nick Jr., and thanks for watching. Good luck to any teams that may be competing in the off-season events. That's definitely not happening, but good luck to teams as they prepare their build seasons and moving forward. Special thanks to our moderators in chat tonight, and see you next time, same day, where we take a look at what is going on in First Robotics on FRC Roundup. Thanks, everyone.
This video on First Updates Now is made possible by viewers like you and also the following sponsors. Stryker is one of the world-leading medical technology companies and is driven to help make healthcare better. Stryker's commitment to innovation has made it a career destination for engineering professionals. Click the link in the description box below or go to careers.stryker.com to discover your next opportunity. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay up to date on our new videos. Keep the conversation going and provide your input to our content. Watch our live shows at twitch.tv/firstupdatesnow. Join our Discord at discord.gg/firstupdatesnow and check out Fun FTC on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and First Updates Now on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.